Today on Cityline, outsider art makes its way inside the ICA, and comedy cutting to the core at the Huntington Theater Company. Hello everyone, I'm Karen Holmes Ward. Welcome to Cityline. It's time to put the winter blues behind us and check out what Boston's spring art scene has to offer. The Huntington Theater Company continues their season with the landmark comedy, The Colored Museum, written by two-time Tony Award winner George C. Wolfe. Employing an unusual method, Wolfe's production brings you 11 exhibits characterizing black life and culture. Directed by Billy Porter, who won the Tony Award for his performance in Kinky Boots. The play is redefining what it means to be black in contemporary America. Director Billy Porter, and also Grammy Award-winning Billy Porter, joins us today. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm so happy to have you here today.
I'm so happy to be here.
Tell us about this play, this presentation of the Colored Museum.
Well, it's the first sort of main big revival of the piece in a quite some time, and you know, revisiting the material of this play that sort of encompasses the journey of the African American experience and the culture in the 20th century is exquisite to sort of excavate, because you know, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And so to be exploring the themes that are in this piece at this particular time is very, very powerful.
When did you first come in contact with George Wolfe's work in the Colored Museum? I
was in high school back in the 80s, and I was auditioning for colleges, and my drama teacher handed me the play and said, this play is going to change your life. And it absolutely did.
In what ways?
Really did. Well, you know, it was the first time that I was reading an ideology and a theory on black culture that I actually had myself, but was too afraid to speak out loud, and too young to have the language to express it.
So
I didn't know how to
validate it.
It validated, it validated a lot of the feelings. And, you know, one character in particular, Miss Raj, is a gay character. And it was the first time as a black gay man that I had seen something that
spoke to you.
Spoke to me, but also honored my existence and didn't judge my existence and didn't reject my existence, but actually embraced my existence in a really powerful way. So it changed.
So this must be
like that.
Some sort of a full circle experience for you now, directing this piece at the Huntington.
It's so humbling to have had George as a mentor in that way before he even knew that he was a mentor to me, you know, in the abstract, and then to then actually work with him, to have worked with him, to have a relationship with him, which is where I met Peter Dubois from the Huntington, who's the artistic director at the Huntington, and to have those two sort of basically choose me to bring this seminal piece back to audiences today is quite humbling.
Now, do you think Wolfe's play was ahead of its time in 1987? Does it stand the test of time today?
It was completely ahead of its time then, and it's still ahead of its time. We did a run-through the other day, and, you know, I was finally able to see all of the pieces together, and it's just fascinating. It's just fascinating how timely it still is. The images and the themes and the writing, it crackles in a way that is so present and so contemporary and so of the moment.
And talk about making the transition from acting to directing.
Well, you know, I've always been the kind of person that had a very distinctive voice as an artist. I've also been a very specific kind of artist, which means that, you know, sometimes being cast in traditional places doesn't really happen for me very often. So, in other words, there's a lot of unemployment that goes along with being
loving your craft.
me. Yes.
Yes.
And so in that part of the journey, in order to stay creative, George Wolfe actually said something to me that, you know, holds steady and has become my mantra. You have to have the courage to practice your art even when no one's listening. That's what a true artist is. So in the process of that journey for me, in those lean years, I discovered, oh, well, there's another version of my creativity that I can express, and that is the writing, and that is the directing. And interestingly enough, I love it. I just love.
It's a different kind of control.
It's a different muscle. It's a different kind of control.
Yes.
George says because I'm a control freak is the reason why I like it. You're a control freak. That's why you like it. And so I suppose there's a little bit of truth in that.
Now, what do you want Boston audiences to leave the theater with after seeing this production of the Colored Museum?
Well, George talks a lot about how the piece is a celebration and an exorcism. And, you know, because in order for the characters to grow, in order for anybody to grow and be grounded, we have to embrace and love the totality of who we are. And I think in that journey, which we see all of these characters go through in the piece, we get to that other side of celebration. And I want people to understand that even in the darkest moments, in the darkest hour, there is hope. There's always hope. And stay focused on that.
Okay. Billy Porter, you are one of our theater treasures.
Oh,
thank you. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much.
The Colored Museum, directed by Billy Porter, is at the Huntington Theater Company's BU Theater on the Avenue of the Arts. It runs March 6th through April 5th. You can get ticket information by logging onto our page at WCVB.com. Up next, new exhibits at the Institute of Contemporary Art. Stay tuned.